Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground, the signal without the slop. Ooh, Core version 30 out today. Supposedly, Bitcoin's dead, but it just seems to not be. Anyways, let's take a look at the stories we are going to dive into. So, a lot of bullishness, guys. Why? Because it's Friday. We're going to do a whole bunch of hopium on Friday because that's part of the fun, even though Bitcoin is quote unquote dead at 119 and change. So we've got some comments coming out of Citibank. That's right. The bull run may not be over. India Times showcasing Bitcoin. We'll take a look at that. And we'll take a look at a couple of new ads. Gemini's got a new ad. Pretty well done. Square also has a new ad featuring that you can pay using Bitcoin, you can save using Bitcoin all through their Square merchant tools. We're going to take a look at that. Cynthia Lummis to the rescue, right? She's got a whole bunch of bills all ready to save Bitcoin. So the de minimis tax exemption for everyday Bitcoin transactions, is that enough? Not sure. First Eurozone nation, that's right. Luxembourg. Everybody's talking about how huge this is. Is it really that big? Yeah, obviously we're going to actually give you the truth about this whole thing. Peter Thiel's Bullish exchange, right? Making moves, making partnerships. We'll take a look at that. North Dakota stablecoin news. Not going to stop. You're not going to stop people from doing shenanigans. Not going to stop people from doing shenanigans. Speaking of shenanigans, we have an update for the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve as well. Take a look at those shenanigans. Guys, you know the deal. Before we do that, we are going to take a look at a quick ad from our sponsor. Show some love, and we're going to be right back to dive into the news. Let's do it.
Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium.
All right, we are back. And of course, I'm having some weird audio stuff. Okay, let's dive into it, guys. Let's dive right into the hopium. Let's do it.
But I think going into late 26, your forecast for Bitcoin and Ether are pretty good, yes?
Not mine, but our team's. Yeah. So we're looking for continued follow through there. It kind of comes back to your discussion earlier on how to think about your alts in terms of gold and crypto. And I think your commentary is spot on there. I mean, I think we just have to allow that. You have a very aggressive momentum-driven equity market, and so I think people don't want to miss that. So you're looking for your hedging opportunity, and the way we see it, in addition to central bank buying, as you mentioned, I think that those two asset classes become hedges of choice as you're trying to navigate this ongoing strength, highly valued but momentum-driven equity market.
Okay, so sounds good from Citibank. All right, before we continue, though, we are getting some comments here. Z-Logic, we're talking about the core version 30, so let's take a look at it. I agree, right? I don't think core version 30 is going to kill BTC, and I totally agree, right? The strong reaction, having multiple implementations, like this is the point, right? Like anybody who's sitting there that's actually trying to force you to do something, I'm weary of that, right? I definitely am. And then there's of course there's the people misinforming, right? Pretending that Bitcoin's dead, and it's like core is captured, but then they totally ignore who's funding knots. Like, guys, it really, if it was that simple, right, it would have been figured out that quickly. It is not cut and dry. It is a lot of gray area. And, if you want to be intellectually honest, then it's not that simple. And you also do have to accept, right? So I can look at it like this. I'm sorry. And then I will continue with the hopium. So I don't agree with all of Core's decisions in the least bit. I don't agree with the way that, they handled this socially. I don't agree with the fact that they banned Mechanic from the GitHub. I think that could have been done more diplomatically. I think that whole conversation could have happened differently. Nevertheless, though, right? We're seeing these very detrimental arguments coming out of both sides, which actually have nothing to do with technicals, right? So it's really just a bunch of ad hominem attacks. And then, so you've got people that aren't accepting that Core didn't handle this correctly, and then you have people on the knots supporter side that aren't accepting that their filters are only effective on unconfirmed transactions. And the idea that you can coerce the miners into taking less money. Like, I get that there's Bob Burnett, right? We've had Bob Burnett on the show. He's a friend to the show. I've spoken to him many times. He believes in this, right? He believes in this cause, and therefore he runs knots. And as a result, right, he is willing to forfeit whatever those fees are. That the people pushing this subjective crap, because I am not a spam enjoyer in any way, shape, or form. And hey, like, that's his choice. This is the beauty about an open network. That being said, we are going to have these discussions. We are going to have these arguments. These arguments aren't going to go away. Anybody who thinks this is going to go away is completely mistaken, and they haven't been paying attention to the conversation. This conversation specifically took place already back in like 2011 or 2012. We're like a bunch of Alzheimer's patients, waking up to the same thing every day, not remembering. Okay, I'll stop. We will continue. We will continue with more opium. Let's do it. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's take a look at that India Times thing that came out yesterday, right? Everybody was all excited. I do think it was a little bit crappy from some of the Bitcoin news agencies or media accounts that they hid the fact that it was sponsored by CoinSwitch, right? CoinSwitch is a exchange. It's an app. It's one of the biggest Indian crypto trading apps that there are, and they're the ones that paid for this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. You don't have to hide it. Okay, shitcoiners advertise Bitcoin stuff all the time. it's okay. Anyways, so here we go. This is not an ad for gold. It's how much gold you can get with one Bitcoin. I got to be honest with you. I'm still more interested in the Bitcoin than the gold. What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with that? I can't even carry it across the border. I'm going to have like a little smelter, a portable smelter, right? Just cut off slivers of gold, pay people with it. Yeah, that never happened. A lot of people haven't read Debt the First 5,000 Years, but if you choose to read that book or listen to that book, you will quickly realize that a lot of the narratives that we were taught about how medium of exchange and money was used originally and how it came to be, you'd be really disappointed in the gold narrative. You could see why nobody shills that book. Anyways, moving on, guys. We've got some more hopium. I do like the ad, though. I appreciate that. Mainstream media in India. Bullish stuff. Okay, let's go take a look at the Gemini ad, right? I actually thought that this was pretty clever. Let's take a look. I like that it said this card is pointless. I have to admit, I did when I first saw that, I was like, is this an ad from a competitor? But no, it was them. Well done. I mean, yeah, they just went public, so obviously they're trying to make attention for themselves. However, I will take the ad, right? I appreciate the fact that their ad, even though Gemini shills a whole bunch of shitcoins, right, and it's a shitcoin exchange, they're focusing on Bitcoin. I appreciate this. That's bullish. I'll take it. Okay, moving on. That's right. I figured I'd start it off with so much bullishness that you guys are you're going to be so excited for the weekend. Can't even wait till what's happening next week after Columbus Day. Oh, wait, that's right. Bitcoin never closes. Traditional markets will be closed on Monday, though. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, sorry. It's the Square ad. This is the new Square ad for their merchant tools.
Bitcoin can help diversify how you spend, save, and invest in your business, especially when every swipe of a credit card eats away at your bottom line. Let's say you run a local grocery chain. Most purchases are small, like a bag of produce or a gallon of milk, so credit card fees start to add up fast. With Square, you can now accept Bitcoin with zero payment processing fees, no chargebacks, and near instant access to funds. And you choose how money settles into your account.
Sorry, I don't mean to be the pause guy, but I'm doing it. They're saying there's no processing fees. That's only for the first year. We covered this yesterday, so now we get where everybody else gets their talking. I mean, it's not a surprise, right, that they get their marketing talking points directly from the source, but yes. So this is being marketed as having zero processing fees, and for the people that are going to use this, it's the carrot on the end of the stick. It's only for the first year. Sorry, here we go.
Count, whether in USD or Bitcoin, instantly and right from your Square dashboard. Whether you're aiming for short-term goals or planning for the long haul, you can automatically convert a percentage of your daily card sales into Bitcoin. No extra steps, no added complexity. It's a smart, seamless way to build savings in the background, all while keeping your day-to-day cash flow predictable. And when tax time comes, you'll get the paperwork you need right where you find your reports and bank statements. Bitcoin is just another way for you to take control of how your business makes and spends money. Enable Bitcoin payments and conversions in your Square dashboard. Head to squareup.com/Bitcoin to learn more.
Okay. Pretty good, right? It's not a bad ad. I like to see that. Like for me, this is the nice stuff about adoption. Because again, for the people who don't like seeing garbage on the Bitcoin blockchain, hey, you know what's really great? We can crowd out that crap with the monetary use case. But guess what has to happen for the monetary use case to take place? People have to use it. I know it's crazy. The Bitcoin treasury companies, right, with their paper Bitcoin and all the stupidity and everybody they're getting wrecked, that's not actually helping this, okay, in terms of the block space. Right? That's not helping Bitcoin's monetary use case at all. I know that people think so because, it's giving more attention and blah, blah, blah. People buying shares of these companies, that's not actually helping Bitcoin and its monetary use case. Okay. You want to help the monetary use case, you could do stuff like South Africa is doing. If you follow Francis Pouliot and you see all of the Bitcoin, the purchases he's making of food and tools and stuff like that where he's living, guys, this is how I know, right? I know it's tough to imagine, but unfortunately, you actually got to use it. And yes, I know that hodling is also using, but the point is that if people aren't actually making transactions, then other things will fill the vacuum. And we see it. We saw it with BRC tokens. We saw it with runes, with stamps, with ordinals, which, by the way, are all already on Bitcoin. Okay? So the idea that there's going to be somehow new and different crap, it's just nonsense. The crap's already there. Okay? We just need to crowd this out with monetary use case. Okay, I'll stop. I know it's because it's core version 30 that's coming out today. So what do you want? All right, moving on. We're done with the Square ads and all that good stuff, all of that hopium. Let's move on to the de minimis tax exemption. Yay. So yeah, U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis says she is working on a de minimis tax exemption for everyday Bitcoin transactions. So like I said at the beginning, is that enough? I don't think so. I mean, it's not that anybody's surprised that I don't think so, but it's crumbs, right? It's just crumbs. Like nobody cares. Okay. Bitcoin is a hybrid asset that even the governments, nobody can figure out. Okay. The financial alchemists, all the economists, all of these Keynesians, they all got it wrong. They don't get it. So to me, I just think that there shouldn't be any tax on it. But of course, I'm going to say that because I love Bitcoin and I have Bitcoin and I want to use Bitcoin. So of course, I want this to be tax-free, but I absolutely think it should be. Because the same way that you can go into a store and spend your money and the money itself, the purchasing power, like it's not being taxed. Well, they can't because it's worth less and less and less. It'd be kind of weird, right? That they do that. But because Bitcoin is, I guess, going up in purchasing power, then they're like, oh, it's an asset. You gotta tax it. But it really, you could just see that the rules make no sense. Right? Like the rules, it's all just about serving the state, right? It's all about serving the state. So let's just keep that in mind. But yeah, I do think it is a step in the right direction, of course, right? I'm not gonna say it's, oh, this is crap and we shouldn't do this at all. No, of course, right? The same way that the government goose steps us towards shit we don't want, well, guess what? We should probably try to goose step the government towards stuff we do want. And there you go. This is one of the ways. Start off with the minimis Bitcoin with the tax exemption for small transactions. And we move from there. All right. I guess it's good news. Okay. Moving on. Let's go to the Luxembourg news, right? The Luxembourg news. Everybody's excited. So Luxembourg claims bragging rights as the first Eurozone nation to invest in Bitcoin. Luxembourg's Intergenerational Sovereign Wealth Fund, FSIL, has invested 1% of its holdings into Bitcoin ETFs, making it the first state-level fund in the Eurozone to do so. Wow, we're excited. What does that really mean, though? What does it really mean? The allocation is roughly $7.3 million to $9 million because their fund essentially controls about $800 to $900 million. So, okay, it's good, right? But it's not as massive as... it's being made out to be. European nations Finland, Georgia, and the UK also hold Bitcoin, although most of that crypto is sourced from criminal seizures, according to BitBo. With the exception of Georgia, a nation outside the Eurozone that owns 66 Bitcoin for investment purposes. So look, we've got one country here besides El Salvador that I know of, right, that has actually purchased Bitcoin. Georgia and El Salvador, right? But the rest of them, they're all doing it through criminal seizures. Now, before people go cheering about Luxembourg, they're just buying shares, okay? That's it. They're just buying shares of the ETF. They're not buying any actual Bitcoin. And when we go take a look at that SBR update at the end, I think we're going to understand why. And I just gave a hint. I just gave a hint right here. Crypto is sourced from criminal seizures. Buy Bitcoin. That's okay. I don't care. I don't care if I don't want the state to own Bitcoin. Screw them. Who cares? Oh yeah, thank you. Yes, Z-Logic. Bhutan also, and I think they mined Bitcoin as well. Right, so there you go. We're up to like 3 nations. These guys I take seriously, right? You know, the guys that are actually going and they're finding their own resources to do it. I can appreciate it, but again, at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. Who cares about the state? It's there's the state and there is you. All right, let's continue on. Let's go take a look at the Bullish exchange. Right, Peter Thiel's vehicle. What a surprise, huh? Peter Thiel responsible for the first pin of the of what was it? Essentially the FTX blow up, right? Because he essentially started to pull funds from Signature Bank. And look, here he is. He's back again, and he's got a nice big exchange to work with the big banks. This time, guys, it's different. Peter Thiel and his vehicles will not be pulling funds. I'm sure this time it's totally different. Yeah, so Peter Thiel's Bitcoin and crypto exchange Bullish partners with Deutsche Bank. Eesh. All right. So they've tapped Deutsche Bank to provide fiat deposits and withdrawal services for the exchange's Hong Kong SFC and German BaFin regulated businesses. Okay, so it's for their Europe stuff. And Deutsche Bank is reportedly planning to expand into crypto custody in 2026 with the support of Bitpanda. Interesting. All right. Good for Peter Thiel. The only reason I'm watching him, right? The only reason I'm paying attention to the Bullish exchange is because I remember FTX. So I'm just very curious if because we know history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So I just want to see if history is going to rhyme again and how long it's going to take in order for history to rhyme. North Dakota stablecoin news. Let's dive into this. Bank of North Dakota to launch state's first stablecoin known as Rough Rider Coin. And guys, this is what we're seeing. These are the developments that are coming out of all the legislation that has taken place, like the Genius Act. And this is what we're going to get. This is totally, this is what we're going to get, right? State-owned bank partners with Fiserv. You notice how they're not partnering with Ethereum or XRP, right? They're not partnering with any of that crap. They're just partnering with financial institutions. They're partnering with businesses that are already part of the old boys club in order to bring more products that they control in their moat, in their walled garden. We are surprised. Bank of North Dakota is envisioning stablecoins to primarily be used in bank-to-bank transactions. Oh, what a surprise. If you're actually surprised by this, then you definitely haven't been watching this show long enough, because I outlined this already over a month ago with several different interviews. I believe it was I believe it was KeyBank. It was the CEO of KeyBank that specifically said the banks are very excited about stablecoins, specifically interbank transfers. And more specifically, they're very excited about partnering up all together in order to bring stablecoin solutions. Okay? So again, no surprises. It's true, Z-Logic. It's true. Hey, Turbo. Welcome. Thanks, man. Okay. We are going to move on from the North Dakota stuff. Okay. The SBR update. Get ready, guys.
It's not the update we want, but it's definitely the update we deserve. Let's dive into it. So, governments weighing crypto reserves targeting $75 billion pot. Now, if you saw this and you were like, what? Because that's what I was just confused by this. This is just vague and weird. So yeah, let's actually dive into that thing. US seizes $15 billion worth of Bitcoin as $75 billion illicit crypto lingers out of reach. Oh, look at that. No way. What does that mean? Chainalysis has identified over 75 billion in cryptocurrency linked to illicit activity currently sitting on public blockchains. Now here's the signal, presenting a significant opportunity for coordinated asset seizures by global authorities. Not buying Bitcoin and using it for an SPR, coordinated asset seizures. Okay? That's all we're ever going to get, guys. I know that people want to believe that the US government is just going to sit there, print up a whole bunch of money to buy Bitcoin and da-da-da. They don't have to do it. Don't you understand? They don't have to pay for it. So, shout out to Unit of Account. Tax neutral way for the USG to stack Bitcoin. And guys, if you didn't pay attention to the news yesterday, here we go. That's how the US is building out its strategic reserve, right? Roger Ver just settled for $48 million tax settlement. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to pay this in Bitcoin, but I'm just showing you guys, nobody gets away, all right? Nobody is getting away, and this is how they are going to fund their frickin' strategic Bitcoin reserve. I don't see any other way for them to do it. Not without reducing. So this is the thing, right? If the government prints money in order to buy Bitcoin, what it does perception-wise is that it makes the dollar seem even worse than it is. However, if the government does a show of force and uses state-backed violence to seize Bitcoin and hold it, that's different, right? The perception is that the state has control. Anyways, it's a show, guys. It's a show. We just got to sit back and watch it. That's all. All right, moving on here. Let's take a look. The last strategic Bitcoin reserve update stuff. That's right, guys. We bought pesos. We're helping Argentina. We did this before buying Bitcoin, right? This is what nobody seems to, I shouldn't say nobody, but this is what disbelievers don't seem to get, right? The state cannot see beyond its own power, its own control. We care about Bitcoin because of what it means for us. We care about its freedom providing aspects. We care about the fact that we can store value into the future. We care about the fact that it can't be censored or more of it can't be created by the government. But guess what? The government doesn't care. They are the ultimate power for them. So this is why you're going to see stupid stuff like this. And the reason why I brought this up, it's not because this was a Bitcoin story. It actually wasn't a Bitcoin story at all. But of course, Bitcoiners, we make everything about Bitcoin. And it's like, you see, look at that. The government rather buy pesos than buy Bitcoin. The government doesn't actually, the government as an entity doesn't actually care about Bitcoin. There is nothing beyond the government distilled and controlled power. There's nothing beyond that. And right, there's the state, and there is you and me. This is what we have. Hey, good morning from Alberta. I'm a fellow Canuck. I am from Montreal, and I live in the States now. It's been like 15 years, 16 years, something like that. Anyways, guys, this is going to do it for this Friday's episode of Pleb Underground. Don't forget, next week, we are live at TabConf starting Monday morning. I don't know what time, maybe like 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not really sure, but yeah, keep posted, guys. And obviously, we're going to put out updates from the Pleb Underground Twitter account.
so that you know what's going on when we're doing it, all of that good stuff. So look forward to myself, Ulrich, and whichever plebs are at TabConf that want to come and join us and shoot the shit, right? We're going to talk about everything. We're going to be interviewing the panel speakers, but we're also going to be talking about the Bitcoin news, right? Because that's still happening. That's not just stopping, right? So yeah, don't forget to join us. Have a great weekend. I will catch you all on Monday. Take it easy, guys.